Give me some love in this chat. I hope you've already subscribed to the podcast. Yes, I can see the emojis. Okay, YouTube, I see you. So I'm so excited for this because you all are really about to evolve with me. I can guarantee you that each week I'm going to learn more about podcasting. I'm going to up level my setup. This is like just straight raw and uncut and authentic, and this is what the 7 days of authenticity has turned into. It's turned into me showing up in a very, very authentic way and just saying, listen, I don't have it all together. I'm not perfect. This podcast is not going to be perfect. That's why it's called Unfiltered. And it's also why this podcast is sacred, because it is a safe space, a space that we can all kind of let our hair down and kind of relax and just enjoy the space. So tonight is special. It's really, really special. And I'm excited to really begin to show up for not only myself, but for you, for those that have rocked with me during the 7 days of authenticity. And now as it's transforming into the Sacred and Unfiltered podcast. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's go. You know what time it is. Give me some readies in this chat. If you're ready for tonight's words of encouragement, give me some readies in this chat. Let's go. You know how it is. My boy Angie is ready. Here we go. Naima is in the building. She's ready. Donna's in the building. She's ready. Let's go. All right. So first thing, right? Because it's my first podcast, there's a couple disclaimers I'm always going to have to put out because now I'm into podcasting. It's not just on my platform, right? So the first disclaimer is that this podcast, the title, Sacred and Unfiltered, is just that. It is not connected to any religious affiliations. It is an authentic version of myself navigating through life and sharing her story and how she's navigated, right? So that's the first disclaimer. I'm not affiliated with any religious organization. The second disclaimer is that I'm not a therapist. I'm no one's therapist. I kind of describe myself as an unconditionally loving mentor. I'm an unconditionally loving mentor, which means as I navigate this thing called life and I have some experiences that some of you may or may not have experienced, then I'm here to just guide you. And if you want further assistance, I advise you to go consult with a doctor, consult with a physician. Those are the people who are trained in their craft and did the studying. But I've done some studying on my own, and I'm just going to speak to you from an unconditionally loving place. Is everybody okay with that? Give me an okay in the chat. Before we dive in. Give me an okay in the chat. Yes, because my boy is really the therapist. My boy Angie is really the therapist. She needs to get her own practice, I say from my mouth to God's ears, get your own practice. All right. So in case people watch this, right? Now, the people who are on there, my tribe, my family, so they know my story. But for those who may be watching this and this is your first time coming across Karima Mariam McKenzie, a quick backdrop of my story. I am a vice principal of 22 years. Well, I've been in education for 22 years, vice principal for the past 5. I went from math teacher to high school athletic director and now to vice principal. And my life completely changed 3 years ago, almost 4. in September of 2021. That is when I had to go into a mental institution for 7 days. I was battling anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation. I was on suicide watch. I had some very, very close friends who had to be on me 24/7 to make sure I didn't self-harm. But that landed me in the hospital. And then what transformed and happened after that was really a spiritual awakening. It was me having a divine, intuitive moment with the divine creator. I reflected back to my 12-year-old self, and my 12-year-old self asked my 38 version of myself at the time. She said, why didn't anybody tell me this? Why didn't anybody tell me? Those are the words that came through. I had nothing but time to sit with myself. And my 12-year-old self said, why didn't anybody tell me this? And my 38-year-old self said, well, what? Tell you this? What's this? What's that? And this part of it was that life is hard. And when I understood that those 3 simple words, I immediately went into action in terms of, man, I have to tell people this reality, this truth, and like have people understand that it is really difficult. It is really challenging. Just that simple reality. And because it's challenging, because it's difficult, how do we navigate this thing? How do we navigate the challenges of life? So while in the hospital, I just had nothing but time to be with myself. And I took it as a personal mission to start telling the truth about the difficulties of life, telling the truth about how hard life was for me and how hard it has continued to be, right? It's not something that ever gets easy. Life always comes with different challenges at different stages of our lives. So with that, I authored this book you see behind me. And I'm happy that it's not inverted this time. So you could actually see the titles behind me, which is cool. So I authored the book, Temples Are Sacred and So Are You. And it's a book that teaches 7 core principles. Give me a 7 in this chat. 7 core principles on how to treat our bodies like a temple. And again, no religious affiliation. It's just 7 different ways that I was blessed to be enlightened on, right? Now, what I did was I used the word temples as an acronym. And what a lot of this podcast is going to be talking about these temples letters. It's going to be talking about what they mean, what they stand for, and how to embody them on a daily basis. So I will give this disclaimer as well. Although, again, that I am teaching you what the divine placed on my heart and in my spirit, I need you to know that these are things that I still struggle with today. It's not something that is easily manageable. I've had my challenges, and I'm hoping that this space will become a space that is free to express, free to be honest about your own challenges, and free to just show up as your authentic self, like I'm showing up as mine. So thank you for being here tonight. And I titled this podcast tonight, Aren't You Tired of the Nonsense? Aren't you tired of the nonsense? When I was sitting with what to call it, because each week's going to be something different, I came up with that title because I truly was sick and tired of my own nonsense, right? As I closed out 2024, I realized a lot of things about myself that I still wanted to improve on and change. So let me know in this chat, how many of you have identified things, reflected on yourself, and there's things you want to change about yourself? Put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. Are you tired of the nonsense? Put that in the chat. Let me know how you feel about that title. Okay. Yes, we got some yeses. What else? What else? I don't know why I can't see some of you. This is a huge delay. Hold on, y'all. I'm just getting the sevens in the chat. Yes, Donna. I'm sorry. I am working on this lighting situation. There we go. All right. Time to change within. Yes, absolutely. It's time to change within. So when I say that I'm sick and tired of the nonsense, it was me making a shift in creating the reality that I wanted to create for myself. So that began by me. Some of you were on my live, right? For the 7 days of authenticity. And during that live, I wrote down about 12 things that I was sick and tired of. 12 things that I was sick and tired of in my life. And out of those 12 things, doing this podcast right now, I am tackling about 3 of them. I'm tackling about 3 of them because I understand that when it comes to being sick and tired of the nonsense, we really have to start changing our reality. We really have to start acting on the things that we are sick and tired of. Okay? So I have begun to 3 major things that I was really, really sick and tired of. The first was procrastination. The second was imposter syndrome. And the third was, what was it? Procrastination, imposter syndrome. What was the other one? Procrastination. I'll come back to it. Procrastination, imposter syndrome, and I can't remember it right now, but neither here nor there. The point is this. Once I've identified what those things are, you have to put an action plan in place to begin to rid yourself of the things that you're tired of. So right now, in your reflection, I need you to think of one thing, just one thing right now, put it in the chat, one thing that you are sick and tired of when it comes to you, yourself, and you. There's no judgment here. And I just be totally honest, like I am. One thing you're sick and tired of. One thing you're sick and tired of. Put it in this chat. Let's go, family. Inconsistency. Okay, boy. Yes. Yes. Inconsistency. What else? What else you got for me? What else you got? Donna, Naima. Guilt. Okay. Keeping it going. Who else? Who else? Who else? Fear. Playing it safe. Yes, Donna. I love that. So once we identify, right, what those things are, then we have a responsibility to now act. To yes, fear, right? We have a responsibility to act, right? So I love that you all are mentioning fear, because fear really tried to stop me from showing up and doing this podcast. And it's gonna keep showing up every single week, right? Because each week I'm still met with potentially procrastination, right? I'm still met with potentially imposter syndrome. I'm still met with fear. All these things that kind of hold me down and keep me in this box that I kind of put myself in. So now that I understand what these things are, I have a responsibility to show up in the opposite and loving way. So doing this podcast was just that. Okay. So are you ready for a tip? Are you ready for a tip on how to put an action in place? Give me a yes, give me a heart, give me something in this chat. Let me know if you're ready for a tip on how to change this part of ourselves. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let me know. All right, Nas is ready. Who else is ready? Donna's ready. My boy Angie is ready. So here's what I did. I started to implement visualization and meditation. Okay. I started to do this before the new year. It is in the sitting and the stillness and the silence where I was able to visualize my action plan. I was able to visualize my action plan. So when I started to sit in the stillness, my first inner knowing said, show them your authenticity, show them who you are. That's where the first prompting came to do the 7 days of authenticity. Now, once I sat with, okay, do the 7 days of authenticity, see how you feel, see how you feel, see how you feel. By the end of the 7 days of showing up, regardless of what my fears are telling me, regardless of what my subconscious program is telling me, I kept showing up anyway. So despite what my subconscious mind was telling me, I showed up. But the way that I started to show up first was just in meditation, just in the stillness. So it is in the quietness and the stillness that I knew my next steps. So that is my tip for you. Start with meditation. Get in the stillness and get in the practice of controlling your mindset, controlling your thoughts. Once you control that, you can begin in the stillness and the silence to hear what your next step is going to be, to hear how you can be consistent, to hear how you can rid yourself of guilt and these other fears that exist within us. So when I knew that I was battling with fears of being on camera or fears of imposter syndrome, my next step, you want to know the next thing I did? The next thing I did was I downloaded a hypnosis to reprogram my subconscious mind around fear of being on camera. That's the exact title. And since I started the 7 days of authenticity, I've been listening to that audio while I'm sleeping. So you have to understand the importance of reprogramming the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind has these programs buried deep, deep, deep down within us. And we have to begin to shift our reality. So to shift your reality, one thing you got to do is get in the stillness. Okay. Second thing you got to do is reprogram the subconscious mind. Get in the stillness, reprogram the subconscious mind. And when you do those two things, that's when you get the action plan. Excuse me. My nose is running. That's when you get the action plan. And that is how I got my action plan to finally launch my podcast, which is the first night of many, right? And the one thing around my fear, Spirit told me is don't discount the small beginnings. If you build it, they will come. So myself and you, 4, late 3, 4, whoever's here, few people and whoever's going to watch this recording, I'm not discounting how small this is starting. I know that the divine creator has a vision and purpose for me starting to speak this message. Truth be told, over the past 3 years, for every single podcast or radio interview that I've had, every single person after the interview has told me in one way or another that I needed to start my own podcast. So here we are. It's finally done. No more procrastination. No more imposter syndrome. Oh, I remembered. I finally remembered what the other thing is. No more perfectionism. No more perfectionism. Put it in the chat if you struggle with perfectionism. Put that in the chat if you struggle with perfectionism. I know I'm not the only one. No, I'm not the only one. Yes. No more perfectionism. No more. No more. So in my no more perfectionism, right? I'm sitting here at my dining room table. I got my, my little props in the back. You can see my whole counter, right? I have no fancy microphone, no fancy lighting. I'm just me. I'm just here to show up and speak this truth, just in my authentic version of myself. So this is the things that I'm healing and curing as I do this podcast. And this is my message for you tonight, is to just create your own reality. Do not, family, focus on the things that are your struggles, right? Don't give any attention to your struggles. Put every intention into the things that you want to do and accomplish, right? If I gave into my fear, if I gave into my perfectionism, if I gave into my procrastination, I wouldn't be right here before you today. So I'm canceling it. I'm canceling it. And the way that I'm canceling it is showing up for myself every single day. Okay. So that is my encouraging word for you tonight. I don't have a full hour's worth of content on my first podcast. I just don't. But I'm open to discussion. So if you have questions tonight on creating your own reality, I'd love to hear it in this chat. Creating your own reality. I'd love to hear this in this chat. Let me know if you have any questions, comments. Yes, Naima, your authentic self. That's how you have to show up. You have to be completely authentic. Okay? Completely authentic. What you got for me, boy? Why you put that in the chat? Oh, man. Create an ebook worksheet of the action plan. I got you. Whatever is needed, I'm open. You're giving me another assignment, though, I got a lot. Get up and keep going, no matter what it looks like. Absolutely. I want to add one more thing when it comes to creating your own reality. So this is the second reason why I picked this title, is because there is so much happening in this world today, right? Everywhere you turn, there is something that is depressing. There is something that is downright just egregious, disrespectful, mean, like just a lot of negative things happening in this world. But my choice in this matter of this state that we live in is to continuously create my own reality, meaning I'm only giving my time, attention, and energy to things that are uplifting, to things that are loving, to things that are kind, to things that are a message of truth, right? A message of love, a message of peace. I guard my mind, right? We talked about this last week in terms of guarding your mind. I guard my mind from the things that literally bring my spirit down, bring my energy down, bring my vibration down. So that also contributes to the things that we feel, fear, inconsistency, guilt, all of those things can easily, right, come into our field from the things that we consume. So be vigilant, be mindful of the things that you consume, whether it's through your mind, whether it's through your mouth, whether it's through your ear gate. All of it is super, super important. And when it comes to creating your own reality. So that is my final word of tonight is we have to create our own reality. And I've given you plenty of tips on how to do that. But first, you got to get into stillness. You got to guard your mind, your ear gate. You have to meditate on things of good report. And you have to show up no matter what. You have to conquer the demons in you. These are our own demons within ourselves that tell us we're not good enough, that tell us we don't deserve better, or that you're not deserving, or you're an imposter. You can't do that. Man, you better crucify them words, nail them to the cross, and bury them things, right? Last night was the first full moon of the 2025 year. And I don't know if any of you are into astrology, but the full moon is really about releasing. So we are still in that energy now. So tonight, I encourage you to write down every single thing that you want to release, okay? And do your own ritual. It doesn't matter what your ritual is. Do your own ritual. Write it all down. Rip it up, burn it, trash it, whatever you got to do. But from this point forward, make a pact with yourself and me, because we're live on this call. Make a pact with yourself that one day at a time, you are going to conquer your biggest and greatest fears that you have. That's my word, family. That is my word for you tonight. We are the creators of our reality. We can be whatever it is that we want to be. We can do whatever it is that we want to do. But we just have to show up in that, right? You literally can't focus on your now. Focus on the things that you want. Be delusional. And this is a practice that I'm implementing now. Become delusional about the things that you want, the things that you desire. Act as if you already have it. Every single day, act as if it's already yours. And I guarantee you, it'll start showing up. So mark my words. Today is season 1, episode 1. There's going to come a time where there will be thousands on this call. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to be on this call. That's what I'm feeling in my vibration. That's what I know to be true. Because as I evolve, this podcast is going to evolve. But you on this call right here, you guys are the OGs. I'm going to call you my Temple's OGs. You're my Temple's OGs. You're here from the beginning. And you're going to watch this evolve to something beyond all of our wildest dreams. But I see it. I see it. And I see all of your wildest dreams coming true as well. Whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you want, it's yours. But you have to give it attention. Give it your energy. Give it your time, your focus. Create your own reality. So that's my word tonight, family. Give me some love in this chat. Did you learn something tonight? Was it a blessing for you tonight? Let me know in this chat. I would love to hear from you. Give me some love, family. Let me know. How is this a blessing to you? What we got? It's only going to get better and only going up from here. Give me some love in this chat, family. Tell me what you feel, what you're thinking. Any questions? Nothing is coming through yet. Oh, here it is. It was good as always. Donna, need this reassurance. Ashe. Anybody else? Kim, thank you for joining again tonight. Naima, thank you for joining again tonight. Jazz. Oh, she just came. She's had some technical difficulties. I always learn something. I'm happy that you've learned something tonight, Nas. And D, your confirmations. Thanks for putting that in the universe. Yes, boy, it's time. Get your own practice. It's time. Listen, you have the gift of, in your studies of learning the mind and how it works, and in your social work experience, people need your medicine. So I am affirming you in that. It's time to get your own practice. Hey, Jazz, it's all right. You're going to have to watch the recording. We talked about creating our own realities tonight. So that is season 1, episode 1. I am going to figure out how to do some editing and uploading and all that good stuff. But I'm about to say tomorrow. Nope, next week, next Tuesday at 7, we will be right back here for season 1, episode 2 of the Sacred and Unfiltered podcast. This is your girl, Karima, here to remind you that you are the temple. Coming to you live from the Sacred and Unfiltered podcast. I know you're late, Jazz. Yes. Okay. Yes, Jasmine, consulting for the youth. Awesome. You can create that reality. You can create that reality. Whatever it is that you desire, it's for you. It's for you. So that's my message for you tonight, family. What a beautiful, beautiful time. I'm so thankful that you were able to join. And listen, here's your assignment. Invite a friend. Invite a friend for next week's talk. That's your first assignment. Second assignment is to do one of the strategies I taught you tonight when it comes to creating your own reality. I want you to do one of the strategies at least once from now. You got 7 days to practice creating your own reality. Okay? That is by way of meditation. Okay? Another way is by way of journaling. Another way is by way of vision board, right? Putting a picture up on the wall. All right? Another way is by writing out. We're still in this full moon energy. Writing out all of the things that are holding you back from creating your new reality. And you got to cancel those demons within us. We all have to write down every single thing that you want to get yourself rid of. Okay? Yes. Kim, I think we fixed the sound issue from the first podcast, first live, but we're good now. So those are your assignments, folks. Any questions before we head out? Any questions before we head out? Any questions before we head out? Any comments before we head out? I'm thankful for my Temple's OGs. Your assignment, you got to bring a friend next week. And you got to do one of the create your own realities assignments. That's your assignment for the week. Any questions before we head out? If there are no questions, I'm going to close out with my lovely and trusty phrase. This is your girl, Karima, live from the Sacred and Unfiltered podcast, here to remind you that you are the temple. I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Peace and love. And I see you this time next week. Peace and love.